Hello, bonjour, buenos dias, namaste, hajime mashite, ni hao, assalamu alaikum. Everybody out there in the internet, welcome to Chat with Tekken for November 2022. Um, so yeah, Chat with Tekken, if you don't know, is basically three things, or the three main things I talk about. So we've got videos I'm working on for the channel, changes and stuff on the channel, IRL stuff. Um, Under videos I'm working on, subcategories, playthroughs and streams, vlogs, DIY do-it-yourself stuff, how-tos, and other stuff I might be making for the channel. And the other two categories don't have subcategories because they're things that happened or didn't, with anecdotes and asides sprinkled in. It can get very going on a tangent and just talking about things and being like, whoops, what was I talking about? And just, yeah, it happens a lot. It happens, whatever. Um, Before I begin, my audio levels are looking kind of. Hold on. I hope it's okay. That might be better because I'm looking at my audio and it's like kind of on the. Anyway, I guess I'll see when I listen back to this. But at least the beginning, because I'm not gonna listen back to the whole thing. So hopefully it's not too low, but it looks like it's fine now. I might have fixed it. Looks like I fixed it. Anyway, videos I'm working on. So currently playing Tactics Ogre. The playthrough of that is done. I just uploading it, in parts over time. So, so a funny thing happened with that game. Um, so I was streaming it, and then I was getting killed over and over on the final boss, and then I stopped streaming, and then my next attempt, I cleared the effing final boss and the ending. So I was like, dude, I should just keep streaming. But there's a little cutscene that plays after you beat the final boss of the epilogue ending before you get to the credits and then other ending stuff. And I I somehow forgot to when I was making my create button clips. I had forgot to get the part that is at, or just that part right after you finish the final boss. There's a scene that plays. I'm not gonna say what happens, but it's not in the little when you go into the Warren report and it's got all the cutscenes and stuff. It's not in there, so I couldn't just go back and recap re-record it. So I started a second playthrough, which I'm not streaming. I'll probably go back through on stream though of that second path, just because there's a lot of neat stuff that it's fun to go back in that game and just do other stuff and do different choices and see what happens. Because I've had that happen too, where I'm doing the second playthrough and I'm doing opposite stuff, but then there's still a fork in the road as far as you get you're on that other branch of choices, but then you get to a fork where it's okay, do this or do that, and it's ooh, I got to come back for this one to get the B side of this one. But yeah, I mean, who's to say if it changes anything, right? So I'm doing that right now. And then also when you finish the game and you get to the coda section at the end, where you can go back, but there's still in-game stuff to do at the end. It raises the level cap again to 45. So I'm curious if the level cap, the final level cap, is 45 or it's higher, or just how that works in that game, because it's kind of weird the way it does it. But when you go back to previous parts of the game, there's level scaling, so you can turn it off if you're doing you can turn the level scaling off if you're replaying a section that you've already done. But if you're not, you have to play through it the first time with it turned on, and it scales you down. But it doesn't make the encounter more hard because you've got all your skills and equipment. It's just the stat squish makes it not as OP as it would if you didn't have that on. Which is fun, by the way. I'm glad that they have that option, because when I went back to the first chapter and just blew through it, I was like, dude, that was that I quite enjoyed that after just because I was kind of not really enjoying the way that they rebalanced the game. But then after replaying that section, I can see why they have done some of the things that they did. But it's kind of weird that it's balanced in the favor of New Game Plus, and just, or not, I wouldn't say in favor, just I'm guessing that stuff was in design decisions that they made, took that stuff into account, because I'm playing through so many parts and I'm just dude, why are the enemy HP on so many enemies they're so much higher now, and it just seems it's higher, and it just seems everything doesn't die as fast as it did before, or just it's whatever. It's a whole thing. It's the skills kind of annoy me the way it's done, and the effing HP scaling, and then there's probably some other stuff, but like ultimately, I'm not enjoying this version of the game as much as I did the PSP version. That being said, it's still good if you like are a fan. It's just they've done things and it's like I don't agree with that. Or if you haven't played any like strategy RPGs, I'd say it's worth playing just because it's so good. Also the new voice acting, the new soundtrack stuff. Oh, so good. Like, because like the new soundtracks, it's like you listen to it and you're like, it sounds better, but then like they also changed some things where it's like they added like a bit of saxophone to like a lot of the stuff. Or I can like I'm picking up on like a lot of the saxophone stuff that they added, and I'm like, is that a saxophone? And just like the way it's like very like subtly like sprinkled in there, it's like sounds good. And then like the voice acting is just great because it's like, oh, that's how you pronounce that person's name, or oh that, or just, it's like a fun time when you're like playing through a game that didn't have voice acting before, and then you're like, that voice that they chose for this character does not match in my head how I read this to myself in the voice of my head as I was reading this when I played through it myself. But yeah, kind of getting too into Tactics Ogre here, but I still enjoy that game. I still love that game, and it's still awesome. So definitely enjoyed playing through it again. And man, I forgot how tough of a final boss was in that game because I'm just like, dude, I just I just got wrecked for like 6 hours straight on stream, and I'm just like, man, what the f. But kind of annoying too because there's like a quick save option, and like after I figured out the quick save thing, I just made a quick save in the set like at a certain part in the fight that made it a lot easier, and I'm like, dude, I wish I would have like known about this sooner, but whatever. It's yeah. And then like when I first started playing it, I was like half asleep, so I kind of glossed over a lot of the stuff. But they reteach you when you go back in the first chapter of your second playthrough. So I was like, like the blue cards, I was like, okay, I know these buff you, but I don't I don't know the specifics as I'm playing through the game, and they never. I mean, there is like the glossary in the Warren report, but it's kind of like not always super context sensitive of like what you need to know about the thing that it or like how the ability and the specific thing and like how it works in that specific like like it needs to be super specific and it's not, so it's just like weird, and or it's just like not specific enough, which is weird because it's like why wouldn't the glossary section like be as in depth as it could, but whatever. um Something else I was thinking about and I forgot. But yeah, whatever. Tactics Ogre is awesome. I need to just move on. But I'm going to be playing that a ton. Because, like, there's multiple paths through that game. And there's multiple endings. So I did the first playthrough. And the first ending I got. But then also the other thing that's cool is, like, it's kind of like Mass Effect. Where there's choices and consequences, right? And so in this one, there's also, like, kind of like, I wouldn't say like Suikoden because there's not like a ton of other NPCs, but it has that aspect of like there's party members that you can get, but if you do certain things, they're not going to join you, so you have to come back again on another playthrough and like do certain stuff to get them. Because I thought I was doing the right thing the first time through to get the sister, but then I didn't, and I had like a super tragic moment in the game, and I'm like, oh, clearly that was the wrong choice. Whoops, got to go back for that one. So whatever. Which I don't think I ever got Kasha in the PSP version. I know I got Vice. Vice isn't that hard to get, but man, Kasha just you have to like have the right dialogue choices and like do certain things, and it's like yeah, and like she can't die in a fight or something, and it's a whole thing, and I'm just like, man, this unit better be worth it. I mean, even if it's not, it's like I just like that aspect. And there's also like this pirate dude, um, who I encountered, but I didn't get him, and then I progressed the story forward, and I couldn't go back to fight that the fight that triggers that event. So I was like, oh, bummer. And then Palace of the Dead, I'm gonna go through that obviously because it's kind of like, well, I wouldn't say it's a one to deep dungeon like in Final Fantasy Tactics. It's just like one of those. It's it's on that level, but it's not as obnoxious where you have to find the exit. So it's like it's just a ton of dungeons within a dungeon, or it's a dungeon with a lot of floors and stages. Let's just say that. So it's kind of like the Hanging Gardens, but even more crazy. Um, I also enjoy that about the game. It's like you have like these like dungeon sequences where you've got, you go into a area, but it's got like a bunch of sub levels, and you just got to clear it out. And it's like you can't go back to the main. Well, I don't know if they changed it in this one. Like if you can go back and like it saves your progress. It probably doesn't because it's supposed to be hardcore like that, but I enjoyed that where it's just like it's like if your party's not up to it, man, you're just gonna you're not gonna have a fun time. And it's like it's like it's like you have to overcome it with your tactics and strategy and your party composition, and it's like the game is like, okay, so let's see how good you are, and like the challenge like ratchets up. But then like the thing I enjoyed about like playing through this time is that um I noticed that like my inventory was like getting drained on the items on the consumables. So on the second playthrough, I'm just like saving up all my money to like get more items, so that way I can like go into these dungeons and like not have to worry about like do I have. Because sometimes when you're in a pinch and like your healers are just not there, you have to like heal yourself. But then that's not as much of a problem now because I've got good healing, good coverage on like most of the field. So it's and I'm not playing too crazy where I'm like sending units up like super far away from the healers. So, but just that game just like it like scratches my brain and like the right sweet spots and just like so love it, love it. But yeah, dude, the quality of life changes like the class level stuff awesome. The speed up on battles like triple speed. I don't know if it's triple speed, but it's faster. So it's like you can play at normal speed, but it's a bit which is like fine. It's like whatever. But it's just like dude, if you want to you know if it's like time is an issue, I'm not going to live forever. So it's like I would like to get through this. I don't need to see an animation like 50,000 times after I've seen it the first time. Like the first time I'll like watch it normal speed, but then after that, it's like I'm just gonna speed through it. There's something else I forgot, but like just yeah, there's good quality of life changes too. Um, so yeah, Tactics Ogre. That's what I'm currently playing. Well, I mean that's not what I'm currently playing. But that's like the last thing I played. I have my PS5 on, so I can check real quick here. But I also played through God of War. God of War is awesome. It's fantastic. Definitely one of the best games of the year. I would still put Horizon Forbidden West over it just because I prefer sci-fi and like that setting and the way it was like very Bioware esque, just. But man, effing Ragnarok, dude. Like, I mean, that being said, it is also just very similar to the 2018 game. It's just like they basically, I would say, like, or the analogy I've been making is that it's very much Arkham City to Arkham Asylum, to basically where they just went through and just like top to bottom, left to right. What's the saying? Is it like stem to stern? Whatever that, all the things across the board improved and like made better and like just additions to the game and just cause like God of War 2018 it's kind of like I had issues with that game of like when enemies are hitting you off screen and like yeah there's like an indicator of like the yellow red thingy if it's like pointing at you and it's like a threat thingy but it's just like that was just I didn't like that. um this one's better but it's still like not in my opinion as good. I mean yeah you got like the lock on. Yeah, but I don't use the lock on camera, so it's like, and it's just like it'll just like by default attack what's closest. So like for like 90% of the time it was like fine. I mean, I'll say like 99% because it's like I only had like some issues, but it's still just like annoying that you can like get hit off screen by something that's like right there. You just can't see it because the camera's not there. But then yeah, it's like also it's like weird because like the option for like your camera to the character isn't there like it is in Valkyrie Valkyrie Elysium because I used that option in that game. I had it like super far back or as far back as you could be so I could like have full vision because that's kind of like that's like the way I prefer to play. That's kind of like where Arkham style or not Arkham style but like in the Arkham games and then in a DMC5 like the fact that you can like see everything that's like a threat in front of you for the most part most of the time. Like you're never getting like really hit like off screen from stuff. So it's just like that's one of my pet peeves really in 3D action games. But Ragnarok for the most part was like not as bad. The threat indicators are like a lot more clear in this one. I felt. Um, but like also the thing I would say of like why I put. I mean, I'll revisit this like of why I put Forbidden West over Ragnarok when I get to like, in the year game discussion, or game of the year in the year discussion because Forbidden West for me is like still at the top. But like there's the like in the skill trees, it's like there's a lot of abilities that I just I'm just like, I'm not gonna do all these things. I can just get by with the basics. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying that's like a, an observation of like, some of these things are in the game, and you use them, and it's like okay, it's like a lot. That's convenient. Like the way creators can like use the chaos blades to like you know scorpion it and like get over here and like pull stuff towards them. Like that's useful, but I didn't find that I needed to use it all the time, or that like I could get by without it. So there's like a ton of abilities in the skill tree, but it's like I'm not using very many of them at all, or just don't find them interesting or like worth putting skill points into. So I had like a weird when I was playing this game, I was like RPG when he tweets stuff, he'll be like, "Oh, I have all these skill points and I'm not using them." Like this is like the one game for me that like I did that. I just like didn't put skill points in. If you watch the playthrough anyway, it's like I didn't put skill points in, but luckily there's like multiple uses of skill points. You don't have to worry about just like skills. You can also upgrade your runics and your runic abilities and your some other abilities tied to your weapons. But yeah, it's like you don't have to just do just skill tree. There's other stuff too, so that was nice. But just like on a effing like polish level, dude, like triple, like quadruple A, triple A, whatever, Sony's calling their first party stuff. It's like I played that game and I was like, dude, Xbox can have like Microsoft can have Activision. Like they don't need it. Like they can never even have it. And you like you play this and you're just like, dude, PlayStation is like on another level with their exclusives, and it's just like like we got this game and Forbidden West, and like I mean, to a lesser extent, Gran Turismo 7, but it's I don't want to talk about it because F that game. But it's like they have like at least one game that's like a year that's like wow, this game pushes the limits of the hardware and it's really good and it's really polished and it's like you'll enjoy your time the entire way through and it's just a blast and it's like man, that was awesome. That was like such a great experience and just ah like I'm not gonna spoil what happens, but like dude, that like the latter parts of the game, there are just like so many epic battle sequences, and it's like I felt like I was playing or I was having like a gaming experience that was like on the level of like the stuff that happens in Infinity War when there's just having like a giant like battle sequences and stuff. And I was like, dude, this is like just like nothing. There's nothing like this on Xbox, and it's just like, it's like yeah. So good luck with that, Microsoft. But it's like I'm gonna give them until next year, and if they still can't put out like good stuff first party on a consistent basis, or at least just like, I mean, no, I mean it would have to be inconsistent, consistent because we've had Miles, we've had uh Horizon. Like the fact that Horizon God of War in the same year just like is not enough anyway, and then we're getting Spider-Man 2, so it's like I didn't play like I don't play Souls likes or rogue likes, so it's like I don't care for Returnal or Dark Soul remaster remake or whatever. So those aren't for me. But it's like people play them and they say they're amazing. So it's like they're firing on all cylinders and they're doing the same thing that they've done since Uncharted 2, which is basically they have a variety of games from different genres for different people that like different types of games, and it's like it still works. And Ratchet and Clank, that was like I almost bought that during the Black Friday sale. I was like, it's not. I've never really played a Ratchet and Clank game. Like I hear they're good, but it's like it's just not for me. So it's like they've firing on all cylinders still. It's like they've only really put out bangers since Uncharted 2, and it's like it hasn't slowed down. I mean, it's slowed down, but it's like the quality is still there. So it's like I can. I was kind of like annoyed at the launch of. I mean, COVID happened, so it's like grain of salt. But it's like it just seemed like for a while there was like a bit of a drought, but then it's like PlayStation. It's like well, I don't even have to say they're back. It's just like it's like yeah, still got the still bringing it. So it's like yeah, that's so it's like just looking forward to whatever's on the release calendar for whatever's next for the first party stuff, because I would say this was a good year for PlayStation. I mean, sure it was like book ended, so it's like you got Horizon at the beginning and or Gran Turismo Horizon at the beginning of the year, but they always have first quarter stuff for the most part is when they put out stuff anyways usually. So it's like you're looking forward to it after the holidays, and then they had like God of War to like anchor it this year, which is not how it's been, but it's like there's like time in between, but it's like it doesn't matter. There's time in between because there's like it's like you got like a game that for that year or two if you count Gran Turismo, which I'm not because reasons I don't talk about it. So it's like get your PlayStation. Meanwhile on Xbox it's like what did they have first party this year? Like I'm trying to blank, dude. Last year they had Forza Horizon, which was really good and fun. I enjoyed that game quite a bit. But then it's like go to this year, and it's like crickets. Actually, that was the thing, right? At their E3, it's like you looked at like the release schedule, and it was like basically just empty for the rest of this 2022. But then 2023, it's like okay, we have games coming out then, but it's like, I mean, they've got Starfield next year, but it's like I mean, I would say not everybody enjoys those types of games, but it's like I've that's which is true, but it's like it's going to be a lot of people playing that game and like gushing all over it. So they've got like one big hit next year, but it's like, do they have anything else really? So I guess we'll see. I mean, I think they probably had other stuff this year because I think did Halo Infinity come out this year or was that last year? But like this might have been the year where it just like fell on its face because there's all that stuff about like the season pass not being good and just like it took time to like fix it and just it lost co-op or something. But I don't follow the game because it's not something I play or care about. So it's whatever. But yeah, I mean, okay, I don't want to like take up too much time with thermonuclear console war, but there's also the whole like Final Fantasy 16 thing and like the time exclusivity, and then like Final Fantasy 7 Remake Part 2 coming out next. So like yeah, even looking at third party stuff for next year for PlayStation, it's like they've got bullets in the chamber. Oh, okay, that was a bad analogy. I shouldn't use guns and gun violence as a as like how to like talk about that. They've got enough fuel in the tank to like let you know as a fan that there's good stuff coming out next year. Um, so yeah, Tactics Ogre God of War. One moment, I can pull this up on my phone real quick because I don't always remember what I've been playing, and unless it's up in front of me, it's kind of hard for me to remember sometimes, and I just forget. And because even though I've got like a bit of an outline on here, I don't have like proper notes all the time anyway. So yeah. Um, so yeah, besides Tactics Ogre God of War, I don't think there's anything else like. Oh, F and Resident Evil 4, dude. I finally played through the Ada stuff, and it's good. And it's man, I cannot wait for the remake, dude. I'm super pumped after that because I haven't played it since I played through it on PS2 back in the day when it came out on PS2. I loved it. I played a bit of the Wii remake. I'm not sure I made it all the way through, but then I think I did because I unlocked Mercenary mode, and I remember playing that on Wii. So I had not played it for a long time though, and to play it again, it's like it still holds up, but it's like camera's kind of eh. I remember like in my brain, I think the problem is like after four, right? If you play like five, six, two remake, three remake, you think, oh, this is how this camera system works, but then you go to play four, and it's like the very beginnings of like when they fix the take controls, and it's like, ooh, it's not like you have a right stick, but it only controls camera. So it's like you move, but like the camera movement is limited, so it's not super smooth on the compared to the 456 or I'm sorry 56 and beyond on the controls there. But it is like still better than like what it was. So um, like the fact that there's like a 180 button or move or like a 180 movement shortcut. That being said, I do like that. I wonder if they took that out because it was kind of like nice to like be able to just like turn around all the way and just like if you're like facing and then like turn around and be like run and just like kite stuff. It's so good though, dude. Like just I yeah. I can't put it into words because it's like playing that and like you just see like you relive the gold standard and you're just like, dude, this is why this game is such a watershed game and it's such a gold standard. And like just to play it now, and there's like games out now that don't even like come close, and it's just like, dude, like why are you even trying? And it's just like, it's funny too because I played it this time, and there's certain enemies that were like giving me more trouble than like I had before because I don't remember the plagas with like the little head popper thingies that pop out that like they one hit kill you, and I was like, dude, that wasn't happening before, or they like kept eating my head or like biting my head off, and I was like, what the f? So that was weird. I got killed by the chainsaw dude like way more this time, I feel. At least in mercenary mode for sure, because I got stuck on like one of the final stages, but I got past it. Um, effing. Also, yeah, dude, like the uncensored chainsaw kill. That was pretty brutal. That was pretty awesome. When I saw that, I was like, oh, that's in this version. Cool. So, I'm just even more hyped now for like the remake of four. Just man, can't wait. Just so good. It's good. I mean, I think that's like the one thing I like about game remakes is like when they remake them is like depending on how you feel about that game or like if it's a known quantity to you and you've already played it, it's like how much you like it is like like there's like no doubt in your mind of like how good it's gonna be. Like Resident Evil 2 remake when that was coming out, it's like, dude, I cannot effing wait because that's like, pfft, it's like I'm good for like at least whatever month that game comes out in, because it's or like week or whatever. Or just when that game comes out, it's like it's gonna be effing like awesome. So it's just like, heck yeah, man, Resident Evil 4, cannot effing wait. Like, and I played the Ada stuff. I cannot wait to see like what they've done in like, because like in the trailer they put out, the second trailer with like all the stuff that they like, you saw like the opening's different, right, to the village part. So it's like he gets in and like it's not all the same. So I'm really interested to see what they do with like the third part, because I feel like village and castle are really good, but the island section is kind of like you get enemies that shoot at you that use guns. It's kind of like that's kind of I mean, on the one hand, you have that, but you've got the regenerators, dude. And it's like the regenerators just like that, like ratchets up the tension to like kind of horror-y, but like not. But it's still like action thriller horror, but like like it makes it feel like old school, where like you've got like these things are kind of scary and they're dangerous, and it's like, oh, it then kind of like re-adds the like danger, because like for a while there you just like kind of cruise by and you're just like ripping through everything, and then it's like you get certain enemies that are just like kind of like that, where it's just like kind of a threat and they're scary, and it's like I can't wait to see like what they do with that in the remake. And then also I was getting destroyed by those bugs this time. That hadn't happened before, like the invisible, I can't remember what they're called, the you know what they are though, like the they're the bug thingies that spit acid on you. I got killed by that a couple times. That was annoying. So I hope they fix that as well. And there's like one legit jump scare in that game. Um, so I'm curious if they add like more, or like what's going to go on there. But oh man, I can't even wait, man. I'm pumped again. Like the only thing that would make it better is if it was on Unreal Engine 5. I think it's on Unreal Engine 4. Is it on 5? I think it's on 4. It's not on 5 because all the Unreal Engine 5 stuff I don't even think is like in development right now, because it's still like not even done, right? It's whatever. I mean the verdict is still out on that engine, but here's hoping, because man, my like I was saying earlier, it's like my what was the word? Expectations for like this gen. Like for a while there, I was kind of like, man, this gen kind of sucks. But then after games have like come out and be like, okay, we're good, we're good, we're good. I was kind of worrying there. I mean, that being said, like I said, like COVID kind of like put a damper on everything. So it's like, oh, production schedule for everything is ruined and everything is delayed. So it's like, oh, well, I have this PlayStation 5, doing these sweet games for it to come out though. So, but then yeah, like it's been a fun ride. We've got FN Diofield. That's good. I haven't finished it yet. I will come back to that. Valkyrie Elysium. Played through that game, dude. Let me talk about Valkyrie Elysium. I'm all over the place here. I'm sorry. Like I said at the beginning, it gets aimlessy. Ooh, I go on tangents. It happens. Whatever. But Valkyrie Elysium. I have played Valkyrie Profile. I believe Lilith or whatever the PSP remake was. I'm not sure if that was Lilith. I haven't. That's like the only one I've played. There have been other ones, and like people say Valkyrie Profile on the PS1 was like one of the best RPGs ever or something. So I always like wanted to play it, and like I played it, and I was very good at it, and I couldn't finish the game. And I was like, dude, this game is kind of weird. Like it's not what I'm used to. Like the battle system is different. I didn't really understand it. Whatever. This was not like that. It is very. Also, like side note, I'm enjoying Square Enix in their current form, where they have like taken like the DNA of Final Fantasy VII Remake as an action RPG or action JRPG, taken those elements and then put them into other games, and like they kind of play in that style. I mean, which is fine. It's good. It's like it doesn't need to be like they like not every third person action game needs to be Devil May Cry 5. So it's like it's not over 9,000 as I wear this Dragon Ball thing, but onesie. But it's like not everything needs to be like a 10 to like be good. It's like it's good, it's competent, and it's fun. Like this game is that. It's like you've got Valkyrie, and like she's got different weapons, different magic attacks you can summon your on Hariyar, and it's a fun ride through the end of the through the end of the world, or Midgard rather, because it's like it's what that was. Yeah, I after playing this and playing God of War Ragnarok, it's like back to back. I was never into Norse mythology and never, didn't really know much about it. I've like learned more about that in the last 2 weeks than like, or I guess it's been more than 2 weeks, but whatever. Like it wasn't. Cause I don't think it was back to back weeks I played those, but I played Valkyrie Elysium, then I played God of War Ragnarok, and like they just take elements of that mythology. So it's like they don't do like a one to one like reinterpretation of like whatever happened in that mythology. It's just like they take those characters and like the mythos of it and like make a story about it and like game about it. And so it's like I'm getting all this stuff about Galahorn and the Einherjar and the Valkyries and Asgard and Midgard and the different realms and like, oh, okay. So it's like before it's like I don't know what the f this any of this crap is, dude. I just know about like Thor has a hammer, but that's only because of Marvel and Odin, Loki. And it's like that's it, dude. I only know the big three of like Odin, Thor, and Loki, but like from only from like Marvel and like most recently from like the flippin', you know, MCU stuff. But but then that's like inaccurate because that's probably like a false interpretation of like that mythology anyway, because it's just a comic book thing. And then like playing through this, it's like, dude, especially God of War, dude. God of War like went like way more in depth than like I thought it would, or at least compared to the first game. That's like was so so good. God of War is so effing good, dude. Like yeah, man. That's the other thing. It's like those first party PlayStation games are like they're like interactive dramas. So it's like you play those and it's just like you come away with like just so good. It's like that's why The Last of Us 1 is so good. It's like just Joel and Ellie as on this adventure, to where they're going, and it's just like a whole bonding experience. And it just by the end of it, it's just like, and then like, I mean, I mean I did enjoy Last of Us Part Two, but on the one hand, it's like I thought it was a bit too unsettling on the violence and brutality. So it's like the first game, I can see where you're going with like what are you trying to tell me, and like what do you want me to feel, and like what is your message with this game. Second game, I was like, you kind of crossed the line, and by the end of it, you lost me, and I was like, dude, that was a bit too much. That's a bit too much, just a bit too much. Especially, I was like very, unhappy with the way it ended because I was like, dude, leading up to this point, I know what I would have done in that situation, and I know what I think Ellie should have done in that situation. You did not do that, so it's like, which is kind of funny because like in the first game I was very like just vehemently like Joel in the second game it's like it was kind of like the opposite where it's like what, like I can't believe they pushed out like that, and or just like, or not to say like they pushed out, it's just like I completely disagree with like the artistic expression that they chose for that scene at the end. It's like I completely disagree with their artistic integrity of like what they did at the end of that game because of like leading up to it. It's like, dude, this has been like just a complete like release of violence and brutality, and then like you get there and like you don't do it, and it's like what? Whatever, dude. It's a whole thing, but like those games make you feel, and then like God of War just like that, and it's just like and just it's got all this like weird stuff about like Norse mythology to go back to like what I was saying before I went on a complete tangent about Last of Us, and just like man, and it's just like effing yeah, Elysium was like that too. Well, it wasn't like that too because it's not close. But it just like it has that like mythology stuff. Something I really enjoyed about God of War was like it did like a thing where it was like it's like there's or like they make a point when you get, well, not when I'm not gonna say what happens, but like they make it a point to like when you're meeting all these characters from like the nine realms and like different like layers of the society in that game, in that mythos of like they make it a point to like tell you not all Asgardians are gods. But then like the ones that you do meet that are gods are kind of a-holes. So it's just like I do like the way that they did that of like not all the Asgardians are gods, but the ones that are probably an a-hole if you meet them, and like or like the ones that you meet they're like giving you trouble or being an a-hole to you. Yeah, they're probably a god. Just like, but then like when you like get like when you have this like time that you spent with them, like you're talking to them and stuff, or they're like NPCs that you spend time with like after a while, and it's like, oh, okay, well I guess like if I lived forever too, or not, I shouldn't say too, but like I guess it makes sense that like if you had that burden of like you know godliness or whatever, it would kind of like to like an extent normal life would get boring and you would have to like or just not well, you wouldn't have to, but like I could see like why like there's so many Asgardian gods that like are the way they are because of like just they're just bored and just like but then not all of them are like that. So that's the cool thing is like there's rounded characters. So some of them are a holes, some of them aren't. And it's like oh that makes sense of like why this person's like this or why this person's like that. And it's like or and then man like the personification that they had of like mob boss Odin. I love that dude. Like from like the opening scene when you meet him, and he's like you're at the house, and he's just like whatever, like small talk, and then he has this whole thing where he's like he's trying to like parlay between Thor and Kratos after the stuff that happened in the first game. I love that scene. I effing loved it. I just want to say that real quick because I before I move on because I keep going back to it, but it's just ah effing God of War man, so good, so effing good. It's so good. But like yeah, just another modern classic, just like Resident Evil 4. To get back to what I was talking about, but can't wait to play that one again. Okay, I'm. Oh wait, never. Oh wait, okay. I'm looking at my thing, and that was like the first thing on the channel, for the month. Resident Evil 4. I guess Elysium was I. Well, I guess I must have played Elysium at the end of last month because it's on there for last month, but whatever. And then I played some Forza Horizon 5, but yeah, that update I talked about last time, so there's no point to talking about it. So I do want to do the midnight races and the Hot Wheel stuff, but I'll get around to it. Oh, before I move on or continue, because I'm on like the whole spiel about what I've been playing and like videos I'm working on, which needs to be combined in one thing. Honestly, uh, so I did pick up another external drive. Well, I shouldn't say another, but because I think this happened in the interim. In the interim between last video and this video, man, just a lot of stuff happened. Um, Sega Genesis Mini, I picked that up. Uh, I have another external drive on my PS5 because the prices for the SSDs are not no way, dude. It's not happening. Like I'm not paying like there's no SSD I can buy that's got more storage than the external drives I can get for it, and it's like why would I pay more if I'm gonna get less storage? Exactly, and it's like I can just play the game and then move it to external and not delete it to have to re-download it again and just I mean, I was thinking about like back when I had a Wii and I had like the storage problem, and I was like, just use it, like just use the refrigerator solution. It's like play a game, finish it, put it on the external, and then the internal storage, which is the refrigerator, is empty, and then bing bang boom, problem solved. And I was having that on my Series X, which I just got a external drive for. I got the same one. This is like 5 terabytes. Cause it was even cheaper, which is crazy. Well, I guess it makes sense because it was like during Black Friday, so maybe that's why it was cheaper. I don't know. But cause yeah, it was like $105 when I got on the PS5, but then like when I bought it for my Xbox, it was like 95. So it's like, dude, 5 terabytes for 95, like $100. Why would I say no? And like I can't even get like 1 terabyte for effing $100 on the effing PS5, which is ridiculous. I mean, maybe you could when it's on sale, but it's like, dude, that's 5 times less space. Like what? Why pay the same for 5 times less space? And I could just effing. I mean, yeah, you don't get like the super fast storage for like the SSDs are, but it's like just move the games around and like just just move the games around and manage the space. That's easy, and it's like that's easy and cheaper than buying another SSD. So it's like screw you, PlayStation. I'm not gonna effing do that. That's a whole other can of worms, though. It's like as far as like I feel like the prices this gen are out of control. Like the effing storage, like the first party games on PlayStation, F that crap, like $70. I mean, yeah, I bought God of War, but it's like my thing is like my whole thing is like asterisk. I bought the special edition, which is like however many more over MSRP. So it's like, did I buy the game? Yeah, but I didn't spend 70 on the normal version. So on the, like, I feel like that's the only way I can win in that in that instance is like not getting the normal version for 70. Which is what I did for Horizon. I believe I got like the PS4 version, right? Because it was like cheap, or it was normal price versus 70. Because it's like I'm not paying 70 for effing a game. That's just a standard edition. Go for yourself. Callisto Protocol. You know what you did. Cause, yes, it's like yeah, and then like some third-party games are like, haha, we're gonna do that too, and it's like, dude, I'm not paying $70 for your game, dude. Like, just it's not happening. But anyway, I forgot what I was talking about. I was gonna say something about like. But like yeah, dude, like this, whatever. I had a tweet about it like back at launch where it's like back in the day, like controllers were cheaper than games. Now the controllers are like as much as the games, if not more. Same thing with the storage. Same thing with like every peripheral that's like not the game, and the games are like getting up there too now. So it's just like the hobby is getting more expensive, which is like whatever. And then whatever, it's a whole thing. And then like when the prices go up and it's like, oh, but production costs are so high, but it's like whatever, it's a whole thing. Whatever, just moving on, moving on, moving on. I lost my train of thought because I have like a tweet about it somewhere, but I'd have to go find it. So, which I could because I downloaded my archive of tweets because who knows when Twitter's gonna die. But yeah, Tactics Ogre got over Ragnarok, good stuff. Am I working on anything else? I mean, not right now, but on the menu, I'll just say that I really like saying that lately. I just like saying on the menu, just because it makes a lot of sense in context and it works for things. But I did pick up Dark Pictures Anthology, The Devil in Me. I think that one was actually like $10 more than it's been like every other year it came out. But I did end up getting it and pre-ordering it, so I got the orator or curator version. It takes like a day to play through, or like a couple hours or whatever. It's not that long of a game. Uh, are there all like games you can play in one day or one sitting? So I'm probably gonna get through that one eventually, soon here. But the next like main major game that's gonna be a focus on the channel is Crisis Core Remaster. So that comes out the 8th or something. I'd have to look it up, but it's soon. It's like the beginning of December. So picking that up, play through that. But yeah, Devil in Me. Look forward to that this month. Sonic Origins. I'm not sure if I'm gonna play that on stream just because I don't want to be like struggle busting Sonic and getting laughed at and stuff. So I probably just play that off stream. Even though I played Sonic Mania, so I might play it. But then the thing about here's the other thing is like it's like a Final Fantasy 8 situation, but like even worse because Final Fantasy 8 took me like 10 years to beat or something, and then like Sonic 2 and to a lesser extent, I mean I never owned these games. I had to Sega well I never Sega Genesis. It was my sister's Sega Genesis. Whatever. It's all can of worms. Let's not talk about it. So it's like Sonic 2, Sonic 3. I got to the end of those games. I could never beat them. Sonic 1, I think. I never owned Sonic 1, but it's like, So it's like, I think I can't talk. To a lesser extent, even Sonic 1, it's like I got to the end. Or not I got to the end, but like I'm like, I have like a fear in my brain of like that happening of getting to the end, not being able to finish it. So I'll probably like play through that maybe. Because it's got like what? Sonic 1, 2, and 3 and CD, I believe. So, but I like Sonic and like, Sonic's fun, but I have no idea how long it would take me, and like I don't want to be super frustrated getting to the end of those games and not being able to finish them. But it's like whatever. It's like at least I'll have like all of it up to the end, right? So if I stream it, it's on archive. New Tales from the Borderlands, I picked that up. I was annoyed because I forgot to pre-order it, but it's whatever. So because there's like a pre-order bonus, they give you something about like in-game currency, but then like if the game's using in-game currency, I'm like not sure if it's gonna. I guess we'll see what it is. But like the good thing about that one is I got it on Black Friday sale, so it's like cheap. And then like the deluxe edition comes with Tales from the Borderlands, which I already own, so I have to get the deluxe edition. So I just got like the normal version, so that's cool. I picked up Inscription. Oh, I I completely forgot about something I'm gonna talk about real quick. But the only reason I picked up Inscription is because this is true actually, is because of the PlayStation Stars thing. So I'm already at the you can see that level 4. So I'm at max level, so I don't have to worry about like anything on this anymore. I just check it for if there's any campaigns going on to get more points for stuff. But it doesn't look like there are. But there's a campaign going on for like that, where it was like a list of games, and it was like, extra points if you get this, and it's like okay, whatever. I just like waited for it to go on sale, and it did. So like that one and New Tales from the Borderlands. Those are like the two I picked up from. I mean, I was gonna get Tales from the Borderlands anyway though. Like Inscription, I wasn't. So I'm gonna play through that and like see like is it good, is it terrible, whatever. So I'm interested to see that one. But yeah. I just realized something, but I'll just keep talking. It's whatever. So it's kind of related, but it's not. It's not like what I'm playing or what I'm going to be playing. But I started the process on Steam with this current winter sale or whatever sale it's in. Is like I'm clearing off my wish list, and then like I'm not adding anything. I'm just like gonna clear my wish list off of everything on all my accounts, and then be done and like have all the games I wished for. I mean, I'm sure there's like still stuff to like go back and browse through and be like, oh, what's stuff I haven't picked up or whatever. So there's still stuff out there. But like Steam, PSN, Xbox, GOG, not so much Nintendo because I don't have a Switch. I considered getting one on that sweet Black Friday sale, but I was like, I know deep down inside how I feel, and that's not a good idea, so I didn't. You almost got me, Nintendo, but you didn't. Um, so yeah, just clearing out the wish lists and adding to the backlog because I'm clearing out backlog. Like I played the Resident Evil 4 again. I mean that was on my backlog, but the PS4 version that I haven't played was on it, and I hadn't played it, and I played it. So it's like I've got a nice working Vortex. I don't know if I want to call it a Vortex, but I've got a nice system here of like games are going through and I'm playing them and I'm streaming them and I'm putting them on the YouTube and it's like it's working out. It's kind of working out. Whatever it's working out enough. Um. So yeah, but I was gonna like tangent into the whole wish list thing of like No Man's Sky was on there because Dagger's always tweeting about it and I was like, could be a fun time. And it's like it's like it's not. Yeah, it was like half off on Black Friday sale, so I picked it up. I picked up something else, but it's not that game, so there's no point talking about it. Um, dude, okay, I completely like just my brain was like mentally off there for a second because I don't have my template in front of me. Okay, so yeah, videos I'm working on. That's that section, and then playthroughs and stream. It's kind of the same section, so it's like I need to just combine those into like one section, and I will do that after the channel taken and just have like the stuff I'm playing or something. Because I'm like looking at this and I'm like, why is this two sections? But yeah, that's what I've been streaming is the stuff I've been playing. So it's kind of silly to have videos I'm working on and then playthroughs and streams. That should be one thing. So I'm just gonna skip over that because I think that's everything. I mean, okay, I there are certain games I'm like playing, but I'm not really playing them. Like Fantasy Star Online, Genesis 2, whatever the F it's called. That one, Gran Turismo 7. I mean, to a lesser extent, Gran Turismo 7. Gran Turismo 7, I log in every day to, like, do the minimum mileage thing. Or, like, the daily workout, whatever that's, if it's called. And you get, like, a free prize for, like, driving 20 miles or whatever. And then, like, every day I log into Fantasy Star, I get, like, an item or something. So it's, like, there's, like, these... And then, like, to a lesser extent, Gwent, because I didn't start... I, like, stopped because I was sick for a while. I'll get back to that in the IRL section. And then I was, like, I'm on the other end of that, so I can, open up my phone, open up Gwent, but I'm not actually playing it. I'm just, like, logging every day, because every login you get a thing, because it's free to play, so it's like, oh, here's your free whatever for today. It's just... But, yeah, that's a whole other can of worms. That's not even... I could talk about that, like, some other time, because on the one hand, some of those games I'm not playing, I'm just logging in to get a free thing, and then some of them, like Gran Turismo, I'm playing, but it's not like it's nothing that's substantial. Like, I'm not grinding out credits to buy the legendary cars, but I kind of am, because like slowly over time you do get credits, and like you get their prizes, and then they added the option to sell cars now. So if I win any cars from like the daily roulette, I can just sell it. But then, of course, because it's Gran Turismo 7, they like did a stupid like, oh, there's like valuations of like cars and they can go up or down. So it's like I'm only selling cars if they're like on the up and up. I'm not selling them if they're like undervalued, or not undervalued, but they're like trending downward. So I can't even sell the cars I have that are duplicates, and I'm just like. And then also you can only sell one car of each type every day, and it's like, because they use this stupid like what's that word called? I can't think of the word, but like it's kind of like they have too many. There's too many free to play elements in that game, Gran Turismo 7. I had it. I almost had it. Engagement. They want to drive engagement with that stupid game, as opposed to just having it be a game that you play. Whatever. Oh, I just thought my brain is all over the place. I'm sorry, but as far as like PlayStation Stars goes, there was a thing on here where it was like get XYZ or rare trophies or uncommon trophies. So I ended up playing some games I hadn't played before, but I didn't stream it. So it's like I finally got over that hump of like if I play something I have to stream it. So it's like, but then I was just playing it for trophies. So it's like technically that wasn't the same thing as like play through the game. like I did with Tactics Ogre and the second playthrough. It's like I'm playing the second playthrough, but I'm not streaming it, so it's like kind of like feel like I'm cheating on my stream, but not really because I can go back through and just like blow through it with the level sync off, which is like way more fun than like having struggle. Well, not struggle busting, just like having to focus, having to try first time through. Um, but yeah, I lost my train of thought there. That's what I wanted to say. PlayStation Stars stuff I've been playing. I'm all over the place. I'm sorry. As far as vlogs go, there's nothing new happening there. And changing the channel, it's like as much as I say I want to make a new channel trailer, I just haven't gotten around to it. And then actually, because it's like effing at my job, it's like effing I'm trying to think here. AEW's on. I gotta turn on my Sling TV real quick. Sorry, but like I like AEW. I almost made like a new. Okay, I didn't almost make a new thing, but like I was thinking about making like a new video series just because it's like over the pandemic I did start to watch professional wrestling again. It's like yeah it's I have like a mental thing of like something I want to like talk about or just like I guess I should probably just tweet about it, but like I was like watching it, right, and I was like thinking about it because well what happened was like I was doing the podcast with Buff, right, and then sometimes we talk about comics, and I was like there's kind of like a parallel there. It's like you've got heroes, villains, faces, and heels. So it's like a good like combination as far as like if you like one, you might like the other. And then like as I've been watching AEW, it's like sure it's like kayfabe and like whatever, but like there is like an aspect of like when I do watch it now as an adult, it's like or I guess like an older adult because like I don't think I ever watched it as an adult before. I was like when I was 18, did I ever watch it? I kind of stopped watching it. Like I fell off at the end, like there. But like when I was like watching it, it's like I'm not sure like when I stopped, like what year, like what age I was. I'd have to go back and like check the numbers. But like and now as an adult anyway, it's like I feel like I'm watching it and it's like a live action battle manga. It's like it's got like those aspects of it too, where it's like you've had faces hills, which is like heroes and villains. But then you've got like these well, it depends, right? Like you can have these like long drawn out storylines that are just like really good, and or just like the storyline aspects of like you have like arcs of just like stuff going on. Like if you look at like WWE right now, like you got the Island of Relevancy with like Roman Reigns, and that's been going on for like at least 2 years because it's been since the pandemic started, and he like blew through the SmackDown roster, and he's like nobody's even beaten me, and they became an undisputed champ, and he's got the Usos with him, right hand man Jade and Jimmy, and now they added in Sami Zayn. Oh, dude, I had Peacock for free for a year, and I just watched the effing the replay of War Games. That man, that is like some top tier storytelling in that arc. So good with what they're doing. But yeah, to move on, no change to the channel or vlogs, but I did consider it. But then it's like I'm supposed to be like talking about that stuff on the podcast with Buff, but it's like he's a bump on a log who I have to keep bugging every time I'm on a podcast and being like, "How are we recording this week?" So it's like, the seeds are being planted right now as far as like that and the aimless thing of just really like itching to like talk about stuff every week on a normal basis. And I was gonna say for the change to the channel or vlog or whatever that nothing is happening this month because effing I have to work like effing like 50 hours, like not every week, but like I have to work like an extra day, but like a day for me at work is 10 hours. So it's like adding an extra day makes it a 40-hour normal week to a 50-hour. Oh, I don't I have like one less extra day off, and it's like, oh, yeah, I'll just have to like rest one less day between going back to my day of or my wow, words hard sometimes. My place of employment. I mean, it's fine, whatever. I'm getting paid for it, but it's like, dude, that's like, it's like how like one change can just like have such a like drastic, you know, effect on my equilibrium. So, yeah. But I've got my Dragon Ball Z onesie on. It's gonna get me through it. But yeah, vlogs, changes the channel and stuff. Nothing happening. I would like to get a new. I keep saying I want to get a new channel trailer. That's like my that's one of my goals for next year. Next year's not even here yet, but it's like putting the flag down now. New channel trailer wanted to happen. Um, IRL stuff. Okay, so I've been sick since like what September, October. So what happened was I thought I had gastroenteritis, but then I went to the ER because I don't have a primary care doctor or whatever. I didn't at the time. I didn't have like my insurance and stuff set up, even though I had it through my work. I think I had it. Whatever. So they told, oh yeah, okay, whatever. It's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. I went to the ER. It was hell on earth, and I was there, and I was like, dude, if there's another COVID wave, we're effed. And there's another COVID wave, and guess what happens? Tridemic happens. So it's like, oh man, saw that coming. But yeah, while I was there, so gastroenteritis, and then effing, I was at the ER. I had, let's see, a CT scan, um, IV, blood test. It was a long man. It's been a long like time here being sick. 'Cause I'm just now getting over it. So that happened, and then the my doctor nurse lady was or doctor I guess there she was like you should get a colonoscopy, and then they put me on some medication, and so that happened. But then like when I got but then I didn't have like my or my medical stuff set up, even though I've got like insurance through my work, and so I did that. But then like the soonest they could like get me in for colonoscopy was like the 23rd, which was like a week ago. So I believe I was on no, I wasn't on medication actually. Like after the ER, I was on medication, but then I wasn't after I got through with that medication, and so I was just like having doctor visits because I had to like tell him about my symptoms and then see if I was improving. And I was improving over time. And so by the time I had my colonoscopy, I was pretty good. And then my the colonoscopy surgeon dude was like, you have. Well, I guess I can say it. It's like I don't think it's a violation of HIPAA rights if I talk about my own health, but if it is, whatever, I don't care. So so it's like so like back effing months ago when I thought I had effing gastroenteritis, but then like the when I went to the ER and the doctor lady was like, actually you have um an inflamed colon. You have colitis. Yes, that's what it was. And so that's why they put me on a medication. And then I scheduled the colonoscopy. Weeks go by. I'm getting better, and I have my effing surgery last week when I had my colonoscopy. Luckily, they like everything is cool. So it's like no worst case scenario because like they like the doctor at the ER said like they wanted to make sure I didn't have any like immune or autoimmune diseases or something, or just like any worse conditions on my colon because it was inflamed, and who knows like what was wrong with it, and they had to like check it to see and all that stuff. So I'm good there, and then my surgeon said I had ulcerative colitis, which I don't know what that is. I didn't Google it after the fact. I was just like, okay, cool, whatever. It's like it's not cancer. I don't care. It's not cancer. That was like the one thing I was like, please don't get cancer now. So that like we're good there. Um, and so I'm supposed to have like he gave me like a prescription, but it's like I don't know if I was supposed to pick it up. I was yeah, I was like, and I guess I was getting anesthesia, so it's like I'm not 100% like sure if I was supposed. I was not all the way there, and so it's like I'm supposed to have like a appointment with his office soon or whatever, and then I guess I'll see. But I'm finally on the other side of this, getting better slowly but surely. So that's great. Um, so yeah, it's like getting better. I'm not 100% yet though, so it's like I'm going up there though. It's like 80 to 90% for sure, and then I'm on my way there to 100%. So looking forward to that. But that is that for the medical report of like I've been under the weather for like the last at least a month or a month or more. It sucked, but it's like I'm getting better, so that's cool. And then yeah, man. So that's great. And then on the Biden front, the Biden report, Mr. Pandemic is over, and like not so much. We'll see how bad this current wave gets. Um, And then also, I believe in that 60-minute interview where he said that, he also said something about like, oh man, dude, like it's totally cool. We got this we're gonna totally solve this rail worker strike, and that didn't happen. And now it's like he's gonna like they're trying to pass legislation to like force people to like work with like one guaranteed sick day, which is complete BS. Which is like why a union would strike, and it's just like, dude, that's not cool. That's not like after. I mean, the one saving grace is like the midterms were not a bloodbath. Cause like, ooh, that was a bullet dodged. I mean, that being said, they lost the house, which is depressing. Because I was like, dude, there's no way they're gonna lose the house like next time, because the like you can just like look at the demographics and see where we're at. But then it's like, I guess the gerrymandering was like enough on the last after the last after the last census that we just had. Whatever we did, or not we did, but like the Democrats did lose the house. Um, so no majority, which means nothing's getting done, which means total lame duck Biden time. Man, it's gonna suck the next 2 years because like nothing's happening, or, like even less is happening. It's like we had movement in the Senate where like enough seats won to not like to either cancel out Mansion or Cinema, like one of them. It's like so you wouldn't have to worry about both of them, and then it's like, but then it's like I mean, that being said, like the midterms, the party in power always loses, so it makes. I mean, yeah, it just goes with the trend, which sucks, but whatever, dude. But then it's like leading up to the point I'm making is like leading up to like the election, blah blah blah. Like Biden's always talking about like strong unions. I'm for unions, blah blah blah. But then it's like he effing goes and kills this deal, and it's like that's not how that works, dude. So whatever. Anyway, I need to end this on like a better note than effing Biden, dude. That's effing. Oh, I I I have another story. I just realized something. I have another anecdote because I had to do. Man, I have had to do like so much adulting this last like month and plus since I got sick, and it's like I'm going to like I have to like go to doctor's appointments. I have to do this. I have to do that, and then like I'm always wearing like my two masks too, and it's just like I don't see I don't see very many other people masks. It's like, oh man, this is, yeah, totally unmitigated spread, and next sub variant or whatever, just waiting for bad things to happen. Anyway, so okay, okay. Before I talk about my adventure I had the other day, so I backed something on Kickstarter. It was the new Wild Arms and the new Shadow Hearts game, right? But then my payments didn't go through because my bank rejected it. So I didn't actually get the Kickstarter. I backed it, but then like my payments didn't go through. So it's like I don't have it. So I got to wait until like the normal versions are out, which is like 3 years or something crazy, which sucks because I had like the deluxe digital versions for like a discounted price. So I'm quite upset about that. Whatever, I'll get over it. Um, Anywho, so that happened, and then there's something on Black Friday that I wanted to get and I couldn't get because my effing payment didn't go through, and it's like, what the f, dude. But then like one of like one yeah one of the cards I have is expiring, I believe this month. So by tomorrow it'll be null and void, whatever. And so I went to the bank, and I was like, yeah, my card hasn't come in and it's like expiring soon or whatever. Um, and then talked to the people. It got resolved, and then I was talking to like one of the banker ladies, and then cause I was like, cause I've having interest in like I've had like because of these two specific things, and just like in general, like knowing that I'm stuck in this capitalist hellhole because I couldn't make it to Canada because COVID killed all my money for it, and just that I'm super down about that still. Like, I'm super bummed the f out that like I saved up all this money to like not work, and the plan wasn't to just sit at home in 2020 and like spend it all on bills and rent and have it just drain away. It was like, no, I want to get the f out of here. And then I think COVID happens and just like completely kills that plan. And it's just like I've been so like just I'm still not over that, and I'm still bummed the f out about it. Anyway, because I know I'm stuck here, I'm just like, well, effing, gotta. Well, I guess you don't have to, but it's like, dude, it's like I'm kind of at the point where I'm just gonna effing surrender and be like, if I'm stuck here, I'm effing stuck here, and just like play the game and win because I play to win. But because I'm a winner, yeah. But it's like, I might as well like look into all this effing, credit score, credit card BS, even though it's all a scam. Take, I believe credit scores didn't even like exist until like the 80s or something. Or am I thinking of overdraft fees? Oh, I guess scoring over Biden because I think they got rid of that. But that's a whole other can of worms. Or that's not, or that's not a can of worms. But it's like that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about effing credit scores. So it's like, but then it's like, dude, that's the thing. It's like, in my brain, I'm hoping that like the model that they have in California, where they're like phasing out all the gas cars, right, or like gasoline cars, and it's only gonna be electric like after whatever year. It's like if they follow that model nationwide, then like eventually I have to buy another car again. It's gonna have to be electric. So it's like now I have to like be on the upside of this, to where it's like I'm working on trying to get like a good credit score so I can eventually buy a car again, and then whatever. But it's just like I don't want to jump into that because it's like a whole thing of like, uh, just yeah. I mean, it's not that bad. The way the lady explained it to me was like, at least if you get like a zero interest card and you're just paying it off all the time, it's whatever. So I imagine if your interest is higher than zero, it's like a bit more than whatever it is. But it's whatever, dude. It's like it's not an issue for me because it's like I'm good with money and I can like handle my expenses, so it's like whatever. But like it's just another thing to like kind of semi stress about and just be like annoying because it's like I'm stuck in this capitalist hellhole and it's like, well, I guess I'll just get a credit card and start trying to build a credit score and all this other crap. And it's just like, cause like for a while there it was like at zero because I didn't have anything. And I paid off my yeah. It's like that's the other thing is like I'm on the other side of like having had to have like paid effing loans off and crap where it's like I paid off my college loans, I paid off my car. It's like I don't want to have another effing loan again. So it's like, or not a loan again. Well, I mean, like looking forward to like when I have to get another car again. It's like I don't want to have another. I don't have a loan. I don't have payments. I don't want to have like be stuck in this. Yeah, I don't want to be like effing shackled, or like anchored, or just like weighed down by this stupid effing like that stuff, that financial burden. And it's like getting a credit card is just like it's just baby steps to that anyway. It's just effing allowing me to get there and then like not have it be or have it be like more of a smooth transition because I'm already like used to all this crap and I've got like a credit score built up by then hopefully. So I guess we'll see. But whatever. That was like a weird tangent at the end and an anecdote about my adulting adventures. But that's it for Channel Taken. So I guess I'll outro here. I keep saying stuff about effing well, whatever, dude. It's like I keep mentioning how I want to make a Discord, but it's like that's like it's on the menu, but it's like I have no idea when it's happening because it's like I have a Facebook page, I never update it. If I just had a Discord, I could just like check in every whatever and be like, okay, cool, hey, how's it going, and then like check out. It's just like because I'm already on like Discord like servers and I never go there, and it's a whole thing. But yeah, I'm ending the channel. Okay, this is the end of the video. I'm ending the video now. It's over an hour. I'm sorry. Or if you enjoyed that, I hope you enjoyed it. And yeah, thanks for that or whatever. Anyway, I don't know whatever. I'm talking any of the video. So yeah, feel free to leave a like, comment, subscribe, favorite, share with your friends or not. That's cool too. Or leave a comment on the bottom. Also in the description on the bottom of this video, it's got all the links to all the crap on all the stuff. That was not. I mean, all my socials. Jeez. Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. I think for a while I had like a Steam thing, but it's like I don't use it, so it's whatever. So, but yeah. So yeah. Until you see or hear from me again, thanks for watching, and I'm now signing off. Oh, actually, one last thing. One last thing. I'm not gonna re-outro that, but like, I got a comment on a video this week or month, and someone was like, "Oh, hey, cool, you're playing Tactics Ogre, tactical games, yeah." So I might be playing more of those. I just thought about that because it's at the end where I'm talking about engagement, but or not engagement, but like viewer people comment and crap. So it's like if you've got a game that's like, or if you see a video like on the channel, dude, and you're like, "Oh, I want more of this," or something else like this, then just like leave a comment and I'll totally just like play because I like playing video games. Also, I was gonna say, like other tactical stuff like Mutant, Year Zero, XCOM. There's some other game I have that's like that, but like I may be playing more of those at least in between like the heavy hitters, because I didn't talk about whatever. I talked about like at the beginning. It's like there's like the games that are coming out that are like on my list, and there's games I have in my backlog. So it's like I'm trying to like alternate between the two, and like if there's not a scheduling conflict, I can just go back and forth and back and forth. So I might try to slide some of that in here real quick before Final Fantasy 7 Crisis Core. That's not the name. Crisis Core Reunion or whatever the f it's called, remaster. But yeah, end the video now. Until next time, everybody. Uh, have fun, good game, stay safe, and all other stuff. Later.